Welcome to Metaphysics in the Bible, week 9 of 10, here at the Energy Lighthouse and on Zoom. Our topic today is Imagine That. We're going to go over what's happening in the sky, and the question we went over today is, can you read hieroglyphs? And are you ready to give it a go? The quote, question all answers, leads us to open our imagination, that of the child within. We need you to remember what we wrote. That's key word there, what we wrote on the Egyptian walls for us. And we said, if you're brave and want to give it a go, and we had everybody join in. So we went over this image right here. We did our roundup. We got amazing answers. I'm going to type them in when I edit the video so we can see a whole bunch of the responses. I'll just keep them anonymous. We absolutely took this thing apart with amazing answers. And this is what we need to do again, so we can remember what we've left for ourselves, so we can understand our true journey here as our infinite lives, our infinite soul, and being embodied in this vessel. So what's happening in the sky? Well, I got it saying parting or partying in Scorpio. As you can see, tonight we're having a new moon happening in Scorpio. And the new moon, if you remember, that we shared last week that the sun is in Scorpio, started its journey for 5 months before the Phoenix rising, which does represent the last temptations of Christ before we marry Mary, right? So we'll go over these vibrations and what they mean of these wandering stars. That's what the ancients call. They call them wandering stars. Of course, the astronomers today in NASA call them planets, asteroids, all kinds of things. But they're lights that illuminate you as part of you being your own puppeteer. So we're going to start, obviously, there's going to be a new moon. And what does a new moon mean? A new moon is a new expansion of you. It's just like a new breath, recharging when you go to sleep, right? So the new moon is another cycle. It causes different things in your body to start regenerating. We've talked about those things before, right? It's called the waxing phase. You can remember the difference between waxing and waning because the X is expanse. The moon grows, you start seeing the light again, right? It's in the duet with the sun. So that's the monthly ebb and flow, or a mini phoenix rising of certain portions, etymologies of your body. Also, we have Venus, which is Mother Nature, aligning with Mercury, which is this Akashic Records, and that's in Scorpio. So what's important there is what's your manifestations to do with Mother Nature. And the recordings of everything that's happening in Scorpio. It's pretty interesting that the scribe, as your last temptations of Christ, the scribe is sitting there in Scorpio with you, right? Mercury does stay around the sun as the sun transits, right? So it's always recording with the sun. What are you doing? And also there is Hygeia, the goddess of cleanses. Right? Remember the glyph of Hygeia is that of the caduceus, the medical caduceus. When Hygeia is prominent in your chart, you do cleanse. So the cleansings that happens to you is things leaving your body, not something coming in, right? We've talked about that many times in Tammy's class.
What is Venus again?
Venus is Mother Nature. She loves all beings, all things. If you look at the symbol for Venus, it's that of the Ankh. And if you remember, we all wear an ankh around our neck. Isn't it a chain and a cross? That's an ankh. They carry them in their hands in Egypt, right? If you look at the glyph of Eris, Isis, it's Venus with the point coming down. We're going to talk about that today. So we're going to need you to focus. We just went through a focus exercise. So I think you guys are already focused right now on what different things we see. So for today, we want you to get, for the listeners that are watching this video right now, we want you to get out your crayons, your colored pencils, your paper, but not literally, but your inner child's imagination. That's the exercise we just did. We want to see if you remember what you've drawn in the past, what we've left as breadcrumbs for us to know how to manifest the true love within us. Remember, we are the perfect transceivers built for transmitting and receiving love. And that is the best way to heal. When you tune into this, watch the beautiful things that happen in your world. So I went to look inside the Bible to see about what we've written on those walls. So I've looked up tablet, Of course, there are 33, only 33, and every one of those are about Moses and his tablets, right? There's two tablets, only two. The word stone is in there 362 times, but it has nothing to do with anything written on the Egyptian walls. Engrave or engrave or engraving is in there, but nothing really worth anything there. 151 Bible results for rock. I thought I put rock in there. Nothing really. Lay your head on a rock, throwing rocks. Yeah. And then 348 Bible results for the word wall. Nothing really there either. I used other words too, picture, drawing, carving in the Bible. There's those words are there, but nothing really related to what's written in Egypt. But then again, like we've talked about before, the word Egypt is in the Bible over 681 times, and all the beauty that's in Egypt. But remember, the word Gypt means foremothers and forefathers. Again, I referred to Gerald Massey, Ancient Egypt, the Light of the World, Volume 2. He talks about the tables of Moses were the tables of law. And the law in Egyptian is Ma. Look at that, Mama, right? And Mati in the plural. Well, Mayat. I call it the 42 spiritual laws of Isis, and people say, well, that's Mayat. Well, it's the feminine. It's the divine feminine. There's only one divine feminine. It's inside of every one of us. And there's the masculine, which is in manifest. I say it's Isis is wearing, the divine feminine is wearing a feather in her cap. So in other words, she's talking about spiritual law. So it gets a lot easier if there's only three players. The divine feminine, your reincarnated father, and you. Now you go to work when you go read everything, and it becomes not a lot easier. So the story gets easier to decipher. Right. That's why I threw a little bit. Found some kids' drawings. Okay. Here's where I'm going to look for a volunteer. Does anybody want to volunteer to see what they see in this drawing? We're not going to go into detail like we did in the last one, but does anybody want to raise their hand? I'll give you a minute or so. Oh, Etienne. Okay, Etienne. You got the floor, brother. So I seen it pop up on my screen.
So far, what I see is, in the beginning, would be a contract between the scribe and the goddess. And then from there, the process of how life should take place, being the balance of, I want to assume that that is set, and another goddess representing the sun or the cycles of life, the up and down or ebb and flow. Then I would say this would be the process of creation. From, if I had to give a biblical reference, I knew you before you were in flesh. So you always has existed. So pretty much your ancestors or helping spirits or guides forming the body in which you would process. And then going over what are the key elements within that body.
Awesome. Thanks for that. That's cool. Oh, go ahead, Christy.
Yes, I'm a little closer, but you don't have to move that.
Yeah.
I see almost like a, so the information is given to this first person in like the very first part of it. And then I am almost seeing like that contract as well, like with the scroll in the hand. And then they're given the information, like it's almost like they're like feeding it to her or giving it to her. And then it's almost like a teacher with acolytes. Like in the next one, all those beings like under are, like in Egypt, they had like the mystery schools and the magic schools where they had like the one teacher with all the acolytes. And that's what I'm seeing there, is like the passing down of the wisdom.
Awesome. That is really cool. That is really cool. Awesome. All right, so we're going to go into what Gerard Massey says what's happening here at this scene, okay? The Annunciation, conception, birth, and adoration of the child. The first scene on the left shows the god Tot, or Thoth, the lunar Mercury, the divine word or Logos, in the act of hailing the Virgin Queen, announcing to her that she is to give birth to the coming son. In the next scene, God Neph, in conjunction with Hathor, gives life to her. This is the Holy Ghost or spirit that causes conception. Neph being the spirit. Impregnation and conception are made apparent in the virgin's fuller form. Next, the mother is seated on the midwife's stool, and the child is supported in the hands of the one of the nurses. The fourth scene is that of adoration. Here the child is enthroned, receiving homage, and the gods and gifts from men. Behind the deity Neph on the right, 3 men are kneeling, that's the 3 wise men, and offering gifts with the right hand and the life with the left. The child thus announced, incarnated, born, and worshipped was the pharaonic representative of Aten's son, the Adon of Syria. So you can see, good one, right? Because I like your edition, Aten's edition, because don't forget, Gerald Massey from back then, he's only doing with what he's got. We're in a time where we're able to see more, which is awesome. And of course, this scene is where we got the information from the Bible. God sent the angel Gabriel to the Galilean village of Nazareth to a virgin engaged to be married to a man descended from David. So you can see this is probably the engagement, right? Right? His name was Joseph and the virgin's name Mary. Upon entering, Gabriel greeted her, "Good morning. You're beautiful with God's beauty, beautiful inside and out. God be with you." She was thoroughly shaken, wondering what was behind a greeting like that. Now here's a drama, right? It's just somebody that's reading this, right? We could have did this reading and put it in a Bible, right? But the angel assured her, "Mary, you have nothing to fear. God has a surprise for you. You will become pregnant and give birth to a son and call his name Jesus. He will be great, be called the Son of the Highest. The ruling goddess will give him the throne of his father David. He will rule Jacob's house forever. No end ever to his kingdom." So that's what whoever wrote the Bible took off the Egyptian walls. Everything comes from the Egyptian walls. Again, if you want to read more on how the Bible relates to the Egyptian walls, Gerald Massey has done a fantastic job. We've been getting guidance and downloads about Immaculate's conceptions over the last 3 days. And then doing this, when I'm sitting here 2 days ago, wondering what I'm going to do, it just starts coming. So many people's charts that I did all led to Immaculate conceptions and the discussions of them. And there's even portions of where Gerard Massey gets into, I didn't add it in here because I didn't want to get into it, but how to do it, how to see it on the Dendra Zodiac. So it's important that we got to start understanding that the divine birthing process is going to come back. And the art of Chesterfield rugby, birthing for sporting, is going to come to a grinding halt. So, right. So here's another one. This one's similar to the last one, so we won't ask for a volunteer for this one, but this I'm just going to read to you what is in the Bible here. From the book of John, verse 11, chapter 20. "But Mary stood up crying outside the tomb. As she cried, she bent over to look into the tomb, and she saw 2 angels in white sitting where the body of Jesus had been lying, one at the head and the other at the feet." So the Egyptian walls is the Bible, folks. It is. But we need to start reading it for ourselves, because we've left these messages for us, and they're a little more important than what the Bible interpretations has meant for us. Whole different language, yep.
Hey, Claudio.
Yes, Susan?
It's Susan. I just want to say that picture there, and it was like the last section on the previous one where it sort of looked like there were 3 layers. Yeah, it just, to me, it's like, okay, this is what we see happening at the top. And the other layers felt like they were, I'm seeing it differently too now already, 10 minutes later. But things that are going on behind the scenes that we don't really see. And
Right.
That's been coming to me lately too, as I'm doing work with a Mary Magdalene group, and we're doing meditations, and that we think we can only see what's going on in the world. We only see what's going on at the certain level, but meanwhile, there are a lot of other forces that are working behind the scenes that we aren't aware of. And speaking of Immaculate Conception, months ago, somebody mentioned the book Anna, Grandmother of Jesus to me, and I forgot about it. And then a while ago, I ordered it from a library system. So in the last couple of days, I was going to send you these pages. I've been reading about the Immaculate Conception of Jesus and the trials that he went through. Like, so the timing, I didn't understand it. The timing is like perfect. And I was just reading about the wise men that came. So the woman received downloads, I don't know, in 1980s or something to write this book, but she keeps referring to, in the days to come, you will be having similar challenges. They will be different, but same. And just know that you can find ways to not circumvent them, but if you use your intuition and you see things with a different eye, that you can get through, or you can manage this. So it's very interesting. Like the timing again is profound.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Thank you for that. And yes, I did notice the same thing as you did. And you can see there's the lion again, right, in that table. And this time, instead of the body being there that we talked about, you can see the mother being on the throne and look at the babies underneath, right? So the birthing process is almost like they're coming together. And like you said, there's layers. So 100%. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Excuse me, Claudio.
Yep.
I see that Alfredo has his hand up, but before that, Jeffrey Barber had his hand up, and I don't know if the moment is past or not.
No, please do. Go ahead. Alfredo, go ahead, and then Jeffrey.
Okay, yeah, I saw recently a video that said the three wise men were the chemicals that are in our brain: dopamine, serotonin, and I don't remember which one was the other. And just seeing the image and how the text that you put described just how all the inner things within ourselves were created behind the scenes, as Marion said. So I guess just connecting all that information that I'm also seeing or receiving, and seeing that other people are also getting it is really cool.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's first I've heard of that, about the three alchemical things. That's awesome, because that would be, because we know that the three kings is Orion's belt. I will be doing a separate little Christmas video on midnight. Around midnight, you'll see the three kings due south, Orion's belt, and Sirius, the sun, right? It's a beautiful thing. So thanks for sharing that. And then we got Jeffrey. Okay.
Sorry, in the second picture where the onk is pointed to a nose.
Right.
Okay, so a video came to me this week, where it was talking about the onk and how it's a tool used for vibration, and it activates a part within the brain, and so that would put you into, like what Susan was talking about with seeing other things, so it like switches on a different part of our brain and takes us into a different realm. So that video came to me this week.
Awesome.
So just that's what I, like the onk is used as a tool, to activate. And also there's been some experiments where electrodes have been put onto the nose to stimulate that inside the brain, and it switches on. It's like switching on your third eye.
Interesting.
Tuning fork. Yes, exactly, Henry.
Go ahead, Tim.
I'm just listening to what he said and how it could be a tuning fork too, but I also realized that, using oils, herbs, and incense was also a thing. So I could also see how if you added different oils or different concoctions of oils in conjunction with that, how that could increase awareness as well. That's amazing.
Awesome. I'm gonna, because I've looked at many pictures on the onk going near the mouth, And I added it in one. It's almost like a temptation thing because, like Donnie said, the Ankh, the symbol of the Ankh, it has a circle, a line going straight down to me, which is the divine feminine. It's what light, how light manifests. And then the cross would be the manifest, the part like the sine wave. So what they're doing is they're showing them here, we're going to put this Ankh in you, right? Because that which dies on the cross is going into your being. So I'm just saying that's what just comes to my mind. I'm not saying it's right or not, but I have that thought, right? Because when we're on the cross, we're here in manifest. We're here in rebirths.
I see it almost as what we would like consider a download today, like spiritual information.
Download of spiritual information is what Christy said. This is awesome. This is turning into a nice study group. I love it.
Alfredo and Alexander have their hands up. I think they both may have spoken, so I'm not sure if they hadn't taken their hands down or if there's another question. Alexander's is still up.
I just put my hand up.
I didn't speak yet, so.
Okay.
I wanted to expand on the three kings, because when I saw that the Dark King gave myrrh and the White King gave frankincense, the birth of Jesus, as I consider the raising marrow of the trees, and it might be in connection with our own marrow, and marrow and myrrh looks alike, but also myrrh egg the marrow of the lower body of the Dark King, of the miracle that the learning of pain gives us, and frankincense being when these two connect, be open in your senses. Frankincense. And then when they combine, they become the third king, which give gold. Nice. And what I experience at this moment, I said 2 years ago there was a recharge of the feminine, and last year there was a recharge of the male, and that this year there was a kind of test run of the cooperation between the male and the feminine, so to say, with the process of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp in the start of the year. So there was Amber entering as a depiction of the marrow, and the last couple of weeks I experienced that I am gaining more oversight, as if the whole year has been test runs and zooming on different areas and sometimes losing the oversight. And now I'm getting oversight again and connecting so much things that in the month of New Amber, November, New Amber. So
awesome. New embers, love it. Love it. If this would be the three kings, does this not look like a dog? Would that be the dog star? Would that be Sirius? The three kings of Sirius?
Could also be Jackal,
right. So the three kings and the dog star. I mean, when you look to the south, it is 1, 2, 3 with Sirius to the left. So just saying, kind of looks like it. All right, we're gonna keep going here because I just want to, and we can talk after. Just I want to keep the video short that goes on YouTube, because when people see a long video, they go, "Oh my God," right? And I'm one of them. All right, so we're gonna talk about how love manifests, right? Where the essence comes from. So this is just a real short video, and at the end he put "a mi madre," in other words, for his mother. So I'm just gonna play this little short video. mi madre, love it. So we need to teach our children well, right? We don't need to count for accounting purposes. We need to learn how to count in golden ratio. I've got my niece, I'm starting to teach her that, how to count to using golden ratio, but it keeps going on and on and on, but not if you just keep the ones column, that you get the circle of 60. It forms the cross, the swastika, and everything there. Everything about your whole life is in those 60 numbers. That's why there's 60 numbers on a clock. 60 seconds, 60 minutes. Why didn't they make it 72? Why didn't they make it 51? Whoever questioned that? Whoever knew that the circle of 60 existed, right? And like Ken Wheeler says, I'm interested in where the essence comes from. Oh yeah, the manifest is beautiful, right? Like we just saw, but if you look down a plant, any kind of plant, it spirals out. It comes from nothing, no thing, from the black, from pure love. That's where the essence is at. That's where we need to search for. We're always searching the physical. The physical is beautiful, no doubt, but let's look where the essence is at. And that essence is everywhere. That's the ether, and that's love. So this is the image of Isis, Eris, Madonna, whatever you want to call her. She's pointing to that Fibonacci spiral. This is on the Dendrozodiac. It's on there several places. That Fibonacci spiral is where she's pointing to. She's pointing to the point in the middle. We got the Christmas tree story here. That's she's on the top of the crown. She's coming in, right? That angel on top of the Christmas tree is a divine feminine. So she is pointing down. We're going to look at this image of Eris, Isis, and that little Fibonacci spiral. And we're going to show you what it spells. So the Egyptians take each symbol and it means something. So they're showing you that that is the word of love. That's where love comes from. She points to the word love. This is not just coincidence, folks. The circle represents the all. The line represents the light, the part of the light that carries the signal, the modulation that we receive, the resistance which makes us and manifest. The V is the vortex, just like you saw that vortex. If you flush the toilet, you see a vortex. If you see a tornado, you see a vortex. Those are all the vortexes, right? She is pointing to love. This is the one, this glyph here is the one that's coming back into our crown chakra. We're feeling love again. We're feeling the induction. That's why she carries that glyph. You'll notice that she has, so I don't have it on here right now, but you'll notice that she also, you'll see her with a circle, a line, a V, but then you'll also see her with a cross there. Well, when she's in the underworld, she's not on the cross. She can't see her. But then she comes into view again, and that's why the astrologers and astronomers are always searching for Eris with the ephemeris. When she's visible, she's on the cross. She's come back. She's come from the underworld. She's come to show us the way again, us to get back home. So now I just want to show you another glyph. People have heard me say this many, many times. Well, the 6 and the 9, we can agree is a yin yang, right? Mm-hmm. The 6 and the 9. So what if we take that 6 and 9 and just move them around a little bit? What do we get? God. And then Psalm 82 says, thus says the ruling goddess, which is Lord, ye are gods. We are yin yangs. We are manifestors. We are creators, right? So that is, so I just did it a couple times. So 609 is the same thing, exact same thing as God. And all the alpha beta is glyphs about us and here to help direct us, to guide us. We've left these breadcrumbs for us to remember. All right. So I made a couple of them go back and forth for people to have fun.
My birth time was 906.
I remember you had that, yeah.
And I was wrong.
Right.
I forget what it is.
But there's a reason for that. Somebody thought their birthday was 333, a chart that I did. And she has the part of fortune all over it. But I needed that part of fortune for this morning. And that's why I did a chart, because she needed to download that to me. And it's starting to line up with how Immaculate Conceptions get done. So from the book of Proverbs, I'm going to leave you guys with this. Chapter 4, verse 10. Dear friend, take my advice. It will add years to your life. I'm writing out clear directions to wisdom way. I'm drawing a map to righteous road. I don't want you to end up in blind alleys or wasting your time making wrong turns. It's talking about information, right? Going through the muddy waters. Hold tight to good advice. Don't relax your grip. Guard it well. Your life is at stake. Don't take wicked bypass. Don't so much as set foot on that road. Stay clear of it. Give it a wide berth. Make a detour and be on your way. There's still time to change the road you're on. And in chapter 9, verse 1, I'm thanking you, God, from a full heart. I'm writing the book of your wonders. So that to me means the Egyptian walls, right? I'm whistling, laughing, and jumping for joy. I'm singing your song, High God. And again, there's still time to change the road you're on. And that's all I had for today.